in the 52nd minute here at Clinton Field. We are all knotted up at once. Sarah Muir getting the first goal of the night for the Greyhounds. But then 5 minutes into the second half, Trinity Gary doing the same thing, but for her Black Knights. And that could not have made Army feel any more better about being able to have a good chance to win this game. With both of these teams projected to finish midway through the preseason poll. Army projected to finish 4th. Loyola projected to finish 1 down. The ball going quick further inside Army territory, and we'll see if the Greyhounds can try and get a quick response. Trying to regain that lead that they had, but Stroman does not let that happen this time. She's able to get the ball off of a trying shot by Bailey DeSmit, and she'll maintain that tie between both sides. It was fortunate enough, Paige Stroman. Is it Paige Stroman? Sage Stroman, actually. Stroman just really able to find that angle, good read on the ball. She just had to back up just a little bit. Oh, near back pedal, now there'll be a chance here. Good track down by Bradley. Pushing it inside, trying to get that kick. However, this shot is saved by Sim. So it looks like Sim's getting back to her defensive ways. There was a one hold that she allowed just before off that Trinity Gary goal, but this time she does manage to keep it away. But who knows for how long. Lauren Barnes close to trying to get there. Barnes. Drysdale. It's Lauren Drysdale. Loyola maybe trying to track it the other way. Strike opportunity by Bailey DeSmit. She can try and break it away. She is close with Tempert. However, the ball goes far away from her and out of bounds. A goal kick for Army. So things looking a lot more smoother now for the Black Knights. They are outshooting Loyola 10-4 and outshooting them on goals 6-3. Both teams have scored a goal so far, and neither one of them has come off an assist. Sarah Muir and Trinity Gary did the work all by themselves. Did not need to rely on anybody but themselves. Shows you just what type of player that they are when they have all the force to make themselves look quite competitive and somebody that is not easily stopped at. So the ball out of play and inbound coming up for Loyola. It's thrown in by Kuminkowski. So now it's backed up by Bradley. So Army works on it defensively. Emma Ritchie. Working it far side now. It goes right over to Mendoza. Now Riddle has possession. It looks like Army with a chance to work on the other side. Oh, and there is. What a near opportunity by Darren Murray. However, she loses that momentum to try and push it further into the Loyola zone. Goes back into the Army side, but that's where the Black Knights get it. And a work over the middle here. This is Oberhaus. She gives it back to Drysdale. Drysdale and Mendoza, the two captains starting tonight for the Black Knights. Neither one of them with a goal, but their teammate Trinity Gary able to punch in that one past Paige Sim to make this all knotted up at 1. Mendoza. A nice booming kick that goes far side. Oh, and nearly a miscommunication for a little while, but then Loyola is able to take eventual advantage of that. They're eventually able to take advantage of it. Now Bailey DeSmit. Trying to get a hold towards the right side, nearly a through pass to Kuminkowski, and tracked down by Oberhaus, trying to kick it back the other way. She'll just kick it out of bounds. So here's another inbounder. Kuminkowski will do it. She'll get it back over to Mir. Mir trying to push it inside, and that's an intervention by Ritchie for the time being, and she'll allow her defense to kick it away. And the ball, wait for it to go out of bounds. Interesting move. It did not happen. Kaylin Bradley, a little off-cue play. It's anybody's game here, however, Paige Sim just getting a nice move deep into the Army zone. And from one goalie to another, the ball goes. I'd say how hard that ball was kicked by Paige Sim is an example of what she has been for the Greyhounds in the last few years. One of the strongest goalies in the Patriot League this season and over the last few. Paige Sim is part of that Patriot League All-League preseason team, and there's no doubt about why she is part of it. She did allow a goal early before the Trinity Gary. However, besides that, 5 saves. One of her finest performances of her career. Of course, if this was a shutout still for Loyola, it would be nearly a 100% absolute certainty. Ball still in the Loyola zone. The Greyhounds will have it. They're backing it up right in here, their goalie. MK Barnes. She finds Kuminkowski. It's quite some strong work that Loyola has on the defense. Having some looks trying to work on some aggressive offensive pushes. They've certainly done a lot of that tonight. However, not many opportunities. They're probably looking for a lot more. 6 shots on goal so far. Only one of them has found its way past Paige Sim and into the net. Loyola's defense able to have that answer every time, including right here. Quaranta almost had a chance to push it back onto the other side, but her team will just have to keep it in their own zone for a little while longer. We're approaching the 58th minute now. Still all tied up at 1. And now Mendoza. Will she try a breakaway? Ball still in her possession. Goes right towards Kaylin Bradley, and she'll be able to keep it from going out of bounds. But she did not have a good foot read of the ball, and Kuminkowski seizes it back. She'll give it back to Sarah Muir. Sarah Muir working deep in her own zone. The fact that she scored a goal to take an early lead for the Greyhounds a little while ago tells you that it could be somewhat surprising. But of course for Muir, she does play midfield, so there will be moments tonight where she can often play deep in her own zone that works on some defense most often. She's midfield. It's not like she also plays defense. If it did, it would have probably also shown up in our stats. But there's nothing wrong with a midfielder showing that they can be deep in their own zone every now and then. So here we are now in the 20th minute of action here at Frederick Douglass Field. Zach Wilson and John Heffernan here on Raider Vision, giving you women's soccer between Rutgers-Newark and Montclair State. A really big night, the final regular season game for all NJAC teams. And a lot of these games, both on the men's and women's side, with major playoff implications.
Sabria Glasgow is definitely a player that's going to have to get things going offensively for the Scarlet Raiders as well tonight.
McLaughlin finding a good angle to make that catch on the ball. Lambert and Cahill were pretty close to trying to work on some shots, but where the ball was heading towards them, it didn't seem to have a good angle. And that allows McLaughlin to keep this game scoreless a little while longer. So what are you seeing so far from both of these teams as we are nearing the halfway point?
They're very evenly matched, a little bit of a feeling out process, but the pace of this game has more of a feel of like a second half kind of vibe in terms of the urgency. As the head coach for Montclair State, Pat Notter told us before the game, when any time a team is going to come out as desperate as the Scarlet Raiders are, it's really next level stuff. So the pace will have to stay at a certain level for the Scarlet Raiders. They cannot sit back tonight, and they can't be too patient. They've got to push. They've got to continue to push. And if that means taking chances, they're going to have to do that.
They can't even let this one-sided rivalry that Montclair State has gained advantage of over the last few decades to find tonight, especially when their season is on the line. You can't let anything get to you. You need to focus on what stands before you, not what it looks like against the team that has pretty much been the team that has looked good against you for the last few years. As at the ball going off, Eddie Abbey's body and right to McLaughlin. Definitely didn't want that to be an own goal. That could have been disastrous. So here we are now, just getting past the halfway point. And another major update. Natalie Pantalone of Rowan just kicked a go-ahead goal with and we are at the 2-minute mark in the second half. Rowan is just very close to putting Rutgers-Newark's fate this season in their own hands.
That's a huge goal for Rowan, going up 3-2. Good news for Scarlet Raiders fans.
It's been such a major comeback that the props have engineered here. So if anything, Camden is really on the back door as well.
I think you and I both, when we heard it was 2-0 Rutgers-Camden, we figured game over, but not the case.
Well, do you believe in miracles? I mean, we've heard that phrase for over 30 years.
That's right. 1980, Al Michaels.
Meanwhile, we return back here to Frederick Douglass Field to focus on what's going on here, and it looks like there's a good chance that Rowan is going to give Rutgers-Newark that push so they can determine their own season themselves once and for all. Ball in the Montclair State zone, and Ayebi hounding it against Howard. And Montclair State will hold on to possession. Now there's Carnival. The back line for Montclair State, keeping possession of the ball, holding on to it for just a little while as they make a push now onto the other side. However, Lambert misses that opportunity to keep this going.
Ava Duell with the throw-in from Edison, New Jersey, the sophomore. 5'8", one of the taller players on this roster for the Scarlet Raiders.
Lambert using an aggressive push to keep Montclair State with the ball. They have a chance here inside the Rutgers-Newark zone.
It looked like a handball, Zach.
And
it's going to go out of bounds.
Yep, the refs are definitely going to call that one. Rutgers-Newark gets the advantage right there to get the ball back in their possession.
Aline Cahill with the inadvertent slap of the ball with her right hand.
Again, Montclair State going for an aggressive push once more to try and get a goal. Rutgers was pretty close a little while ago when Ayebi had a chance, but that chance just went wide left. Ball from Montclair State, they have 2 shots on goal so far. And meanwhile, your final update, Rowan defeats Rutgers-Camden 3-2.
Wow.
So the comeback is complete for the Profs, and that gives Newark the opportunity with a win here to clinch a playoff berth in the NJAC tournament.
Unbelievable. Down 2-0, the Props. 3 unanswered goals. And this is what makes this season, this time of year, so exciting. It all is really coming down to literally the final regular season game of this season.
And that is also going to put a lot more on Montclair State's side, don't forget, to try and push for a win of their own. Because if Montclair State loses, they lose that chance of a first-round bye. But if they win, they get it because of the head-to-head win against Rowan back on Saturday. Both of these teams showing how meaningfully this game is, and this is why we are still scoreless.
You guys got that at home? You got that all figured out?
Trust me, ladies and gentlemen, you want to be in for a game that's going to provide a lot of meaning now for both sides. Montclair State with the ball in their own zone, and they'll push it to the other side. I tell you, I don't know if both of these teams have just figured out what the final score was between Rowan and Rutgers-Camden, but if they did, how do you think this would affect the game now?
I don't know. I think if I'm a head coach, I'm not saying a word, and no electronic devices are allowed over there on the bench.
Of course not.
Just let these young women play, and because the way they play now is going to affect the way they play in the tournament, and you don't want any kind of psychological change in the mindset that they have now, which is a must-win.
Yeah, if anything, for Newark, they cannot afford a tie. They need a solid win, whether it's in regulation or in overtime. They cannot settle for anything less.